Chosen one, stop. Take a mental pause right here. This video, finding you at this exact second, is not a result of the YouTube algorithm. It is a result of divine alignment. If you had seen this yesterday, it would have been too early. Your spirit was not ready to receive it. If you see it tomorrow, it might be too late to catch the shift. This message carries a specific frequency locked to this exact moment in your timeline. I know why you are here. I know that lately you have felt a strange tension, a feeling like you are running on a treadmill, exhausted but moving nowhere. You have whispered to the ceiling at night, "God, did you forget me?" Hear me clearly. You are not forgotten, and you are not stuck. You have been placed in a divine holding pattern. The tower has cleared the runway, and your permission to land is inside this message. Only 1% of people possess the spiritual sensitivity to recognize the difference between a delay and a setup. If you are still watching, you are that 1%. Lock your focus. The briefing begins now. Right now, without changing your position, simply shift your attention to your breath. Do not try to change it, just observe it. Notice where the air stops when you inhale. Does it flow deep into your belly, or does it get stuck high in your chest, right around your collarbone? Most of you, if you are honest, will feel that the breath is shallow, trapped in the upper chest. You might not even realize you have been holding this tension for weeks, maybe months. That tightness you feel right now is not just biological. It is spiritual bracing. You are breathing like someone in a waiting room, listening for their name to be called, terrified that they might miss it. Your body is physically manifesting the spiritual state of your soul, which is a state of perpetual, exhausting suspension. You are bracing for impact, bracing for bad news, or bracing for a disappointment because you have been disappointed so many times before. This shallow breath is the first somatic sign that you have entered the zone I call the void. Let us be honest about where you are right now. I want to zoom into your reality. You feel like a high-performance sports car stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. The engine is running. The potential is there. The desire to move is screaming in your veins, but the environment around you is gridlocked. You find yourself doing what I call the car pause. You know this moment well. It is when you drive home, you park the car, you turn off the engine, but you do not get out. You just sit there, in the silence, staring at the windshield or the steering wheel for 5, maybe 10 minutes. You are not doing anything. You are just trying to switch masks. You are gathering the energy to walk through your front door and be the strong one, the stable one, the one who has it all together for your family, while inside you feel like you are crumbling. And then there is the digital torture. You open your phone and you see them, the people who started after you but seem to be ahead of you. You see someone with half your integrity, half your talent, and half your dedication, yet they are celebrating the very breakthrough you have been praying for. And a dark thought whispers in your ear, a thought you would never say out loud in church. Ideally, you want to be happy for them, but the whisper says, "God, why them? Why is their path so smooth when mine is a battlefield? Why does it seem like the wicked are prospering while your faithful servant is being ignored?" You feel like a spectator in your own life, watching everyone else play the game while you are benched on the sidelines. But chosen one, I need you to listen to me. This feeling of being stuck, this feeling of isolation, this feeling that your prayers are bouncing off a brass ceiling, it is a lie. It is an optical illusion crafted by the enemy to make you abort your mission right before the launch. You have named this season delay. You have named it stagnation. But heaven has a different name for it. And to understand heaven's name for your situation, we must look at the blueprint of a man who felt exactly what you are feeling. Think about Joseph. We love the end of his story, the palace and the power, but we skip over the process. Psalm 105 verse 19 gives us a terrifying insight into his timeline. It says, "Until the time that his word came to pass, the word of the Lord tested him." Now, I want to unpack this because the English translation is too polite. It misses the violence of what happened. The Hebrew word used here for tested is saraf. Saraf does not mean a paper test where you check boxes. Saraf is a metallurgical term. It means to smelt, to refine, to fuse metal by extreme heat. It means to put gold into a crucible and turn up the fire until every impurity floats to the top so it can be skimmed off. When the Bible says the word of the Lord tested him, it means the promise God gave Joseph was the very thing that was burning him. The vision of greatness was the fire. Having a big destiny while living in a small reality creates a friction, a heat, a pressure that feels like it is killing you. But it is not killing you. It is zaraf. It is refining you. You are not just waiting, chosen one. You are being smelted. The reason you feel this intense pressure, the reason you feel this heat, is not because God has looked away. It is because his hand is on the thermostat. He has turned up the heat because the impurity he is removing is your reliance on human systems. He is burning away your need for validation, your need for applause, and your need for man's permission. You think you are failing because you are not moving forward externally. But internally, under the surface, the zaraf process is expanding your capacity. A structure that is meant to hold a skyscraper must have a foundation 10 times deeper than a structure meant to hold a tent. You are being dug out. You are being hollowed out. And that hollowing feels like emptiness. It feels like loss. It feels like being stuck. But you cannot build a tower on a surface foundation. The depth of your current struggle is the only accurate predictor of the height of your coming promotion. So, if you are feeling that pressure in your chest, if you are feeling that heat of frustration, I need you to reframe it right now. Do not call it anxiety. Call it refinement. Do not call it being stuck. Call it construction. But there is something even deeper happening here. The enemy wants you to believe you have been rejected and left behind. But God is actually doing a strategic operation that is reserved only for his most dangerous weapons. He is doing something I call the great hiding. You are not lost. You are hidden. And there is a massive difference. Why would God hide his best soldiers? Why would he cover you with his hand and make you invisible to the opportunities you think you want? The answer is locked inside an ancient concept that explains everything about why your phone has stopped ringing and why your world has gone quiet. The ancient concept that explains your silence is called active concealment. You see, throughout Scripture, whenever God prepared a major asset for a kingdom-shifting assignment, he did not put them on a stage. He put them in a cave. He put them in a pit. He put them in the wilderness. He hid them. Think of it this way. If you are holding an arrow and you want it to fly forward with maximum impact, what is the first thing you must do? You do not throw it forward. You pull it backward. The further back you pull the arrow, the more tension you create. To the arrow, that backward motion feels like a setback. It feels like it is moving away from the target. It feels like it is being restricted, held down, and stopped. But the archer knows that the backward motion is actually the accumulation of power. You are not being detained, chosen one. You are being drawn back. The tension you feel in your spirit right now, that frustration of being held in place while others fly past you, is simply the potential energy being stored up for your release. God is hiding you in what the Bible calls the cleft of the rock. In Exodus 33, Moses asked to see God's glory, and God said, "You cannot see my face and live." So what did God do? He said, "I will put you in a cleft of the rock and cover you with my hand while I pass by." Do you understand the physics of this? To protect Moses from being consumed by the sheer weight of glory, God had to hide him in a dark, confined space and cover him. Right now, you are in the dark. You are in a confined space. You cannot see what is happening outside, and you feel a heavy hand covering you, stopping you from moving. You think that hand is the enemy blocking you, but hear me, that is the hand of the Father covering you. He is hiding you because the level of glory and influence he is about to release through you is so heavy that if you were exposed to it before your character was fully solidified, it would destroy you. He is not hiding you from your destiny. He is hiding you for your destiny. But I know the question that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. It is the fear of time running out. You look at the calendar and you see the years ticking by. This brings us to a specific verse that has been preached wrong for years, and we need to correct it right now so your soul can finally breathe. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Now, pay attention to the word tarry. In English, it sounds like God is late. It sounds like the promise is dragging its feet. But the Hebrew text reveals a secret dimension here. The first time the word tarry is used, though it tarry, the Hebrew word is maha. Maha does not mean to be late. Maha means to linger, to question, to hesitate. It implies a time of questioning. But the second time the word is used, at the end of the verse, it will not tarry, the Hebrew word changes to akar. And HR means to be late or to miss the deadline. So here is what God is actually saying to you. The vision might seem to maha, it might seem to linger, it might cause you to question and hesitate, it might feel like it is taking too long. But I promise you, by the authority of heaven, it will not HR. It will not be late. It will not miss its appointment. God operates on a mode, a Hebrew term for an appointed time. It is a scheduled rendezvous. If you have a meeting at 5 p.m. and you arrive at 4 p.m., you are not early, you are just waiting. The meeting is not late. The meeting is set. You are currently in the gap between your arrival and the appointed time. And the enemy is using this gap to whisper that you have been forgotten. But this leads us to the most critical distinction you must learn today, because there is a very real danger here. Not every delay is from God. Sometimes the enemy does try to block you. Sometimes resistance is not a divine hiding place. It is a demonic prison. And you need to know the difference, because your reaction must be completely different for each one. If it is the enemy, you must fight. But if it is God hiding you and you fight it, you are actually rebelling against your own protection. So how do you know? How do you distinguish between divine hiding and demonic blocking? There are 3 specific signs. I want you to mentally scan your last 6 months as I reveal these. Do not just listen. Audit your life. The first sign that you are being hidden by God is what I call illogical peace, or peace in chaos. Imagine a hurricane. On the outside, winds are tearing trees out of the ground. Debris is flying. it is violent. But in the very center, in the eye of the storm, it is perfectly still. If the enemy were blocking you, your spirit would feel restless, anxious, and frantic. You would feel a driving need to kick down doors. You would be operating out of fear. But when God hides you, even though your circumstances are frustrating, even though your bank account might be low, even though you are lonely, deep down in your gut, there is a strange, heavy anchor of peace. It is the kind of peace that makes no sense to your logical mind. Your brain is screaming, "Panic, do something." But your spirit is sitting in a chair, calm, saying, "I am safe." If you have felt a calm that you cannot explain amidst a storm you cannot control, that is the fingerprint of the Father. He has placed you in the eye of the storm. The second sign is invisible provision. I call this the Cherith principle. When God hid Elijah by the brook Cherith, Elijah did not have a farm. He did not have a salary. He did not have a storehouse. He was cut off from the economic system of Israel. But he did not die. God commanded ravens to bring him bread and meat in the morning and evening. Think about that. Ravens are scavengers. They do not share food. For a raven to bring food instead of eating it is against its nature. It is supernatural. Look at your life during this season of waiting. You may not be thriving. You may not be overflowing. You may not have the surplus you want. But are you dying? No. Have you missed a meal? No. Just when you thought you would go under, did a check arrive in the mail? Did a stranger help you? Did a bill get delayed? Did provision come from a source that made no sense, like a raven? If the enemy were truly blocking you, he would cut off your supply completely to starve you out. But if you are seeing just enough manna for the day, arriving in ways you did not plan, that is proof you are in God's hiding place. He is sustaining you in secret so you do not have to depend on the systems of the world. But chosen one, peace and provision are just the first two markers. There is a third sign. And this one is the most important of all because it is the most painful. It is the sign that usually makes chosen ones quit right before the door opens. If you misinterpret this third sign, you will turn your season of hiding into a season of imprisonment. You will stay in the cave longer than you were meant to. This third sign has to do with what is happening inside your chest right now. It is the pressure of expansion, and it requires you to perform a specific spiritual protocol starting today. If you do not do this, you will not just delay the promise. You might repel it. Let me show you what you must do to exit the waiting room. The third sign that you are being hidden by God and not blocked by the enemy is the most painful one to endure. It is the sign of internal expansion against external restriction. Imagine a seed buried in the soil. Inside the shell of that seed, life is expanding. The DNA is activating. The root is pushing out. The pressure inside is immense because the life force is getting bigger, but the shell is staying the same size. Eventually, the shell has to break. This is exactly what you are feeling. You feel like you have outgrown your life. You walk into rooms that used to feel comfortable, and suddenly they feel small. You talk to friends you have known for years, and the conversation feels flat, draining, and superficial. You feel like a giant trying to live in a dollhouse. This is not arrogance. This is expansion. God has enlarged your spirit in the hiding place, but He has not yet changed your environment. And this discrepancy creates a holy frustration. You feel isolated not because you are weird, but because you are vibrating at a frequency that your current environment can no longer support. If the enemy were blocking you, you would feel shrunken, weak, and defeated. But you do not feel weak. You feel powerful, but contained. You feel like a racehorse locked in the starting gate, kicking against the stall. That kicking is the proof of your readiness. So, what do you do with this energy? If you mismanage this pressure, you will make the mistake of Abraham. You will try to help God out. You will try to birth an Ishmael because you got tired of waiting for Isaac. To prevent this, you must activate a specific spiritual system starting right now. I call this the Divine Pause Protocol. This is not a suggestion. This is the survival manual for the transition zone. There are 3 components to this protocol, and you need to apply them immediately. The first component is the command to stop forcing doors. Listen to me closely. If you have to force it, it is not God. If you have to manipulate the conversation, if you have to chase the person down, if you have to constantly convince them of your value, that is a door of the flesh. When God opens a door in the Kairos timeline, it swings wide. Your job is to walk through, not to break in. The energy you are wasting trying to pry open locked doors is the very energy you will need to walk through the open one. Stop jiggling the handle, step back, and let God be the doorkeeper. The second component is the circle audit. Because you are expanding, you can no longer afford to share your big dreams with small minds. Joseph made this mistake. He shared his dream of ruling with brothers who were content with shepherding, and they threw him in a pit. Right now, I want you to perform a mental action. Visualize your social circle. Who are the people you are sharing your raw, unfiltered dreams with? If you tell them your vision, and their first response is a list of reasons why it might fail, or a polite silence, or a change of subject, they just disqualified themselves from your inner circle. They are not bad people, but they are not midwives for your destiny. From today, you must practice strategic silence. Your dream is a seed. It needs darkness and soil to grow, not constant exposure to the light of public opinion. The third component is the most practical, and it will save your life in the next 40 days. It is the 3-day silence rule. Here is how it works. In this season of hiding, the enemy will send you counterfeit opportunities. He will send a job offer that looks good, but pays less than you're worth. He will send a relationship that feels exciting but compromises your values. He will send a shortcut that promises quick relief from the pressure. When these things arrive, your flesh will want to scream yes just to escape the waiting room. But the protocol demands this. When an opportunity comes, you give no answer for 3 days. You seal your lips. I want you to visualize this right now. In your mind's eye, see yourself holding a golden seal. Imagine placing it over your mouth. For 3 days, you do not agree. You do not sign. You do not commit. You take that offer into the secret place. If it is from the enemy, the initial excitement will turn into anxiety and confusion by day 3. If it is from God, the peace will deepen and solidify like concrete. The 3-day rule protects you from making permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Now, you might be thinking, does this actually work? Can I really afford to wait and say no when I am desperate? Let me tell you about a man I will call the engineer. He is a real person, a chosen one just like you, who was watching a video similar to this one about 9 months ago. 9 months ago, his life fell apart. He was laid off from a high-level position he had held for 10 years. His identity was crushed, the bills were piling up, the panic was real. He felt the heat of the Tsaraf fire we talked about. He was in the hiding place. About 2 weeks into his unemployment, he got a call. It was a job offer. But there was a catch. The salary was 40% less than what he was making before. The title was a demotion, but it was money. It was safety. It was a way out of the pressure. Everything in his logical mind screamed, "Take it. You have a family. You cannot afford to be proud." But he remembered the divine pause protocol. He remembered the 3-day rule. So he asked for time. He took it into prayer. And by day 2, he felt a sickness in his stomach every time he thought about accepting. He realized this was an Ishmael door. It was a trap to lock him into a lower level of existence. So, terrified and shaking, he called them back and said, "No." He turned down the only lifeline he had. His friends told him he was insane. His family was worried sick. And for the next 3 months, nothing happened. Silence. The pressure increased. The heat turned up. He had to dip into his savings. He felt like he had made the biggest mistake of his life. But he stood his ground in the hiding place. He kept breathing through the panic. And then, exactly 90 days later, his phone rang. It was not a recruiter. It was a former colleague who had started his own firm. He said, "I have been looking for someone with your specific skill set, but I did not think you were available. I do not want to hire you as an employee. I want to bring you on as a partner." The offer included equity. The salary was double what he had refused 3 months prior, and the authority level was exactly what he was built for. If he had taken the first job, he would have been unavailable when the second call came. He would have been busy building Ishmael while Isaac was knocking at the door. He is now walking in a level of abundance he never dreamed possible, not because he was lucky, but because he respected the protocol. He understood that the rejection of the good is the invitation for the best. He let the arrow be pulled back so it could fly further. This protocol is powerful. It works. But I know there is a hesitation in your spirit right now. You are listening to me, and you are nodding your head, but there is a dark, cold fear gripping your heart that might stop you from actually doing this. It is a fear you have been too ashamed to admit to God. It is the fear that says, "What if the engineer's story is for him, but not for me? What if I am damaged goods? What if I say no to the good and nothing else comes?" We need to drag this shadow out into the light right now, because if we do not deal with this specific fear, you will self-sabotage the moment the true blessing arrives. Let us drag this shadow out into the light, because if we do not face it, it will grow in the dark until it consumes your faith. There is a quiet, terrifying narrative playing on a loop in the back of your mind. It says that maybe, just maybe, you are not waiting for a promise. Maybe you are just damaged goods. It whispers that God has a limited supply of blessings, and He ran out right before He got to you. It tells you that you have missed your window, that you are too old, too broken, or too far behind to ever catch up. This voice tells you that the engineer's story I just told you is a fairy tale, and your reality is a tragedy. You feel like a product that has been sitting on the shelf for so long that it has expired. I want to zoom into the moment where this pain hits you the hardest. It is usually at night, when you are lying in bed, the blue light of your phone illuminating your face. You are scrolling. You see a picture. It is a friend from high school, or a colleague, or even someone you do not like very much. And there it is. The engagement ring, the new house keys, the promotion announcement, the baby bump. And in that split second, two things happen simultaneously. Your thumb double taps the screen to like the photo, and your fingers type, "Congratulations. So happy for you." with a string of heart emojis, but at the exact same time, your stomach drops. You feel a cold wash of sickness spread through your chest. And then the guilt sets in. You think, what kind of Christian am I? Why can't I just be happy for them? Why am I so jealous? Why am I so bitter? You judge yourself for feeling the pain, which only makes the pain worse. You feel like a fraud. You feel like you are wearing a mask of faith over a face of despair. Chosen one, listen to me. I need you to hear this in your spirit. That pain you feel when you see others succeeding is not jealousy. It is not sin. It is grief. It is what I call the grief of the gap. It is the agonizing distance between the promise you carry on the inside and the reality you see on the outside. Let me reframe this for you. If you had a small destiny, you would not feel this pain. A cup does not hurt when it is empty, because it does not have much capacity. But a reservoir, a canyon, when that is empty, the void is massive. The intensity of your emptiness is actually the proof of your capacity. The reason it hurts so much to be delayed is because you were designed to carry so much glory. That sickness in your stomach is not bitterness. It is your spiritual DNA screaming for its assignment. You are in pain because you are pregnant with a purpose that has not been birthed yet. So, stop judging yourself for the pain. The pain means you are alive. The pain means you are chosen. You are not the first to feel this. King David, the man after God's own heart, wrote his darkest diary entry in Psalm 31. We love to quote verse 15, "My times are in your hands." It sounds so lovely on a coffee mug, but we ignore the context. When David wrote this, he was not sitting on a throne. He was not wearing a crown. He was running for his life. In verse 12 of that same chapter, he admits something heartbreaking. He says, "I am forgotten as a dead man, out of mind. I am like a broken vessel." Think about that. The anointed king of Israel felt like a piece of broken pottery that someone threw in the trash and forgot about. He felt exactly like you feel, forgotten, useless, discarded. And yet, from that place of total abandonment, he made a declaration that shifted the atmosphere. He said, "My times are in your hands." Note the plural, times. Not just my good times, not just my breakthrough times, but my waiting times, my lonely times, my confused times, my hidden times. David realized that his calendar was not managed by Saul or by his enemies or by his own mistakes. It was held in the hands of the Creator, and if his times were in God's hands, then even the delays were divine. I want you to perform a mental action with me right now. I want you to visualize a clock. This clock represents your timeline. It represents the years you think you have lost. It represents the deadlines you think you have missed. It represents the biological clock, the career clock, the financial clock that is ticking loudly in your ear. In your mind's eye, I want you to take that clock off the wall of your life. Feel the weight of it in your hands. It is heavy with your anxiety. It is heavy with your regret. Now, visualize yourself handing that clock over to God. Hand it to Him. Let go of it. Watch His hands take it from you. Do you feel that? The moment you let go of the clock, you let go of the control. You are acknowledging that He is the timekeeper. But here is the secret I have been waiting to tell you. This is the truth that will shatter the illusion of you being behind. When you place your time in God's hands, the rules of physics change. You have been looking at time all wrong. You have been operating on a linear timeline, thinking that because you lost 5 years, you are 5 years behind. But what if I told you that is not how God counts? What if I told you that you have not just been waiting, but you have been charging? You have faced the fear. You have surrendered the clock. Now you are ready for the truth. The reason you have felt so out of sync with the world is because you have been moved to a different time zone entirely. What I am about to explain to you will change the way you look at a clock forever. It is the mystery of why the last shall be first. You have been looking at your life through a lens that is lying to you. You look at your age. You look at your bank account. You look at the years that have passed since you first heard God's voice, and you do the math. You calculate the distance between where you are and where you thought you would be. And the result of that calculation is a heavy word called late. You feel late. You feel behind. You feel like the window has closed. This mindset is the spirit of Chronos. In Greek, Chronos refers to chronological, sequential time. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It is the time that eats its own children. It is linear. It is unforgiving. In the Chronos dimension, time is a depleting resource. Once a second is gone, it is gone forever. If you lose 10 years in Chronos, you are simply 10 years poorer. And because you have been living in this world, you have judged your spiritual destiny by Chronos rules. You think because you lost time, you lost the dream. But here is the revelation that will break the spirit of delay off your life right now. God does not live in Chronos. God lives in Kairos. Kairos is not about minutes. It is about moments. It is not about duration. It is about dimension. Chronos is horizontal. It moves from left to right. But Kairos is vertical. It strikes from heaven to earth. When God intersects your life, He does not look at your watch. He looks at your alignment. And the massive twist in your story, the reason you have felt so out of place, is because God has shifted you out of the linear timeline and moved you into the quantum timeline. You are not late, chosen one. You have been transferred. In Chronos, progress is incremental. You take one step, you go 1 foot. 1 + 1 = 2. It is slow addition. It is logical. It is safe. But in Kairos, the math changes completely. The laws of physics are suspended. Deuteronomy 1:11 gives us the formula for Kairos math. It says, "May the Lord God of your fathers make you 1,000 times so many more as ye are." Did you catch that? Not double, not triple, 1,000 times. That is not addition. That is exponential multiplication. This is why you had to be pulled back. Think about the physics of a slingshot. To send a stone further and faster than it could ever fly on its own, you must first pull it back. To the stone, that backward motion feels like a retreat. It feels like moving away from the target. It feels like restriction. But the further back you are pulled, the more potential energy is stored in the elastic. You have not been losing ground. You have been gathering force. The reason your delay has been so long is because your trajectory is so far. You are not waiting to walk. You are waiting to launch. We see this physics-bending power in Joshua chapter 10. This is the ultimate proof that God controls the clock. Joshua is in the middle of a battle. He is winning, but the sun is going down. In the natural laws of Chronos, when the sun goes down, the battle is over. The enemy escapes in the dark. Joshua is running out of time. Logic says he should retreat and try again tomorrow. But Joshua knew he was in a Kairos moment. He knew he was aligned with God's will. So he did something audacious. He spoke to the celestial bodies. He said, "Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon." And the Bible says the sun stood still. Time stopped. The entire rotation of the planet paused for one man who dared to believe that God's purpose was more important than the laws of nature. God manufactured time where there was no time. He created an extension where there was a deadline. He froze the universe to ensure his servant got the victory. I want you to perform a mental action right now. I want you to visualize the timeline of your life. Usually, you see it as a straight line from birth to death, with your current age as a dot in the middle. Now, I want you to visualize God's hand reaching down and bending that line. See him taking the future and folding it back to meet your present. This is a wormhole. This is a portal. God is able to compress 10 years of blessing into 10 months. He is able to restore the years the locust has eaten. He is not just giving you the time back. He is giving you the acceleration to overtake those who started before you. The delay was the setup for the slingshot, and the tension you feel right now is the elastic about to snap. But I must issue a code red warning. This is where most chosen ones fail. When you enter a Kairos window, the atmosphere changes. You become a high-value target. In the Chronos world, the enemy ignored you because you were moving slow. But now that you are in the quantum timeline, now that you are positioned for acceleration, you have appeared on the enemy's radar as a threat level midnight. He knows he cannot stop the sun from standing still. He knows he cannot stop the slingshot from releasing. So he changes his strategy. He stops attacking your strength and starts attacking your focus. He sends in special agents I call the time thieves. These are not demons with horns. They are subtle, attractive, logical distractions designed to make you look away right at the moment of launch. In the next 40 days, 3 specific time thieves will try to enter your life. If you do not recognize their faces, they will steal your Kairos moment and put you back in the waiting room. Let me show you exactly what they look like so you can block them at the door. Listen to me, because your spiritual survival depends on understanding this next principle. The moment you step into the Kairos timeline, the rules of engagement change. In your previous season, the enemy might have ignored you. You were moving at a normal speed, making normal progress, and frankly, you were not a threat to his kingdom. But now that you have entered the quantum timeline, where God is accelerating you 1,000 times faster than logic dictates, you have become a high-value target. The enemy is terrified of your Kairos moment. He knows that one day of you walking in full alignment is more destructive to his plans than 1,000 days of you walking in confusion. He knows he cannot stop God from blessing you. He cannot stop the sun from standing still. So he does not attack God. He attacks your focus. He sends what I call time thieves. These are not warriors who come to fight you face to face. Warriors are loud. You would see them coming and put on your armor. No, thieves are quiet. They are subtle. They do not want to hurt you. They want to distract you just long enough for the portal to close. In the next 40 days, you will face 3 specific thieves. I am going to unmask them right now, so you can spot them from a mile away. The first thief is the most deceptive because it wears a face you loved. It is the nostalgia trap. Watch closely. As you prepare to launch into your new future, someone from your past will reappear. It might be an ex-partner who broke your heart. It might be an old friend who betrayed you. It might be a family member who has been silent for years. They will send a text. They will call. They will say, "I was just thinking about you," or "I miss how things used to be." You will feel a pull in your heart. You will think, maybe they have changed. Maybe this is restoration. Stop. That is not restoration. That is an anchor. The enemy is using them to tether you to a timeline that God has already cut off. If you engage with them, if you give them your time and emotional energy right now, you are voluntarily stepping out of the Kairos acceleration and walking back into the Chronos loop of your past. I want you to perform a mental action right now. Close your eyes for a second if you can, or just visualize this in your mind. See a cord connecting your navel to that person from your past. Now, visualize a sword of fire in your hand. Cut the cord. Do not explain. Do not defend. Do not negotiate. Silence is your sword. If they were meant to be in your future, they would be running beside you, not pulling you backward. The second thief is the emergency distraction. This one attacks your sense of responsibility. The moment you sit down to work on your God-given assignment, chaos will erupt. The car will break down. A crisis will happen at your current job. A drama will unfold in your family. Someone will need you urgently. It will feel real. It will feel like you have to drop everything to fix it. But you must discern the difference between a crisis and a decoy. The enemy uses the tyranny of the urgent to steal the priority of the important. He will light small fires everywhere just to keep you running around with a water bucket, so you never have time to build the foundation of your destiny. When this happens, you must use the Nehemiah response. When Nehemiah was building the wall of Jerusalem, his enemies tried to distract him with meetings and crises. His response was simple: "I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down." You must learn to say, "I cannot come down." Let the small fires burn if you have to. Your assignment is too great to be sacrificed on the altar of other people's emergencies. The third thief is the most subtle of all. It is the fatigue spirit. This is not normal tiredness. This is a spiritual anesthesia. Have you noticed that you can scroll on your phone for 2 hours with perfect energy, but the moment you open your Bible, or the moment you sit down to work on your business, or the moment you try to pray, a heavy fog descends on your brain. Your eyes get heavy. You feel drained. You feel a sudden need to nap. That is not biology. That is witchcraft. The enemy is trying to put you to sleep during your surgery. He is trying to sedate you so you miss the download. If you feel this heavy fog, do not just go to sleep. Stand up. Walk around. Rebuke the spirit of slumber. Splash cold water on your face. Command your spirit to wake up. You are under attack, and the weapon is heaviness. To defeat these three thieves, you need a defense system. I am giving you a framework called the Time Shield. For the next 21 days, I want you to enter what I call monk mode. This is a period of radical focus. You are going to build a wall around your time. First, turn off all non-essential notifications. Second, tell your inner circle, I am in a season of focus. I will be less available for the next 3 weeks. Third, and most importantly, before you say yes to any request, ask yourself one question. Does this activity belong to my past or my future? If it belongs to the past, the answer is an absolute no. This sounds extreme, I know. You might be afraid of offending people. You might be afraid of missing out. But let me tell you what happens when you actually hold this shield up. I want to tell you about a woman named Sarah. She was exactly where you are. She had just entered her Kairos window. She felt the shift, and then, like clockwork, the nostalgia trap appeared. Her ex-fiancé, the man who had walked out on her 3 years prior, texted her. He said everything she had wanted to hear for years. He wanted to meet. Every emotion in her body screamed, "Go! This is it!" But she remembered the warning about the time thieves. She realized that he was not an open door. He was a distraction sent to stop her from walking through the real door God had just opened. She did something that felt like it was killing her. She blocked his number. She held up the time shield. And because she refused to let the thief in, because she protected her Kairos moment with radical obedience, something happened the very next week that she never saw coming. It was a twist that turned her entire life upside down in the most beautiful way possible. 7 days. That is exactly how long it took for the shift to happen. After Sarah blocked the number of her ex-fiancé, after she raised the time shield and refused to engage with the nostalgia of the past, she spent the next week in absolute focus. She felt lonely. She felt the withdrawal symptoms of cutting off an emotional tie, but she stood her ground in the monk mode. On the 7th day, she received an email. It was an invitation to a private leadership workshop she had applied to 2 years ago and had been rejected from. They said a spot had opened up last minute, and they felt led to offer it to her. She walked into that room, and sitting at the table next to her was not just a business partner, but a kingdom connection who held the exact key to the ministry she had been trying to launch for 5 years. In one 2-hour conversation, she accomplished more than she had in 5 years of striving. Do you see the math? That is Kairos. If she had taken the bait of the nostalgia trap, she would have been emotionally exhausted and distracted. She would have missed the email, or she would have walked into that room carrying the heavy energy of the past, and she would have missed the connection. Because she blocked the thief, she secured the blessing. Chosen one, look at the full picture we have painted today. Can you feel the weight of what has been revealed? We started with the heaviness in your chest, that feeling of being stuck in the car, unable to move. We realized that you were not rejected, but you were undergoing the Zaraf process, hidden in the cleft of the rock by the hand of God. We discovered that your delay was actually a pullback for a slingshot launch. We shattered the illusion of Chronos time and revealed that you have been moved into the quantum timeline of Kairos, and we exposed the 3 time thieves that have been trying to keep you from your appointment. This is not just information, this is a map, and right now you are standing at the X that marks the spot. I want you to check your internal gauge right now. Tune in to your heartbeat. Do you feel it beating a little faster? Do you feel a strange heat rising in your chest or at the back of your neck? Do not be afraid of that sensation. That is not anxiety. That is spiritual adrenaline. Your spirit recognizes that you are standing on holy ground. Your DNA is vibrating because it knows we are about to seal this transaction. But before we seal it, there is one final code I must give you. It is the guarantee that God can actually do this. You might be sitting there thinking, I understand the concept, but I have lost so much time. I have lost decades. How can even God fix that? The answer is in Ephesians 5:16. The English Bible says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. But once again, the English is too weak. It does not capture the power of the original language. The Greek word used here for redeeming is exagorazo. It is a commercial term used in the ancient slave markets. It means to go into the marketplace and buy back something that has been sold into slavery, to pay the full ransom price and take it out of the market forever. When God says He will redeem your time, He is saying, I am going into the slave market of the enemy. I am going to the places where your years were stolen by addiction, by depression, by bad relationships, and by fear. And I am paying the full price with the blood of my Son to exagorazzo those years back. God is not just going to catch you up. He is going to buy back the years the locust has eaten and reinsert them into your future with interest. He is taking the trauma of your past, stripping it of its power, and turning it into the fuel for your acceleration. The teaching is finished, the revelation has been delivered, but the transaction is not complete. Information alone does not change a life. Only a seal can do that. In the ancient world, a decree by a king was just a piece of paper until it was stamped with the king's signet ring. Once the wax was hot and the ring was pressed down, that paper became law. Nothing in the universe could reverse it. Chosen one, we are about to enter the Holy of Holies. We are about to place your timeline under the signet ring of the King of Kings. This is not a passive moment. This is an activation ceremony. I need you to shift your posture. I need you to gather every ounce of faith you have left. Stop doing anything else. If you are distracted, cut it off. We are about to close the portal and lock you into your destiny. Prepare your spirit. The seal is coming. Chosen one, we have reached the summit. Everything we have discussed, the somatic pressure, the hiding place, the kairos shift, and the warfare against the time thieves, has all been preparation for this specific second. You are not just watching a video ending. You are standing at the threshold of a spiritual portal. We are about to seal this timeline. I need you to shift your internal posture right now. Whether you are driving, lying down, or sitting, I want you to visualize your spirit standing up. In your mind's eye, see yourself rising to your feet. Straighten your spiritual spine. You are not a beggar asking for crumbs. You are a general reporting for duty in the throne room of heaven. Visualize yourself stepping onto a floor of glass. The atmosphere is heavy. The cloud of witnesses is watching. Fix your focus. Father, in the mighty, matchless, and all-powerful name of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, we come before you right now. We acknowledge that this is a divine appointment. We declare that the atmosphere has shifted. Heaven is open, the books are open, and your glory is present. We acknowledge that everything spoken over the last hour was not the wisdom of man, but the strategy of heaven. We receive it not just as information, but as impartation. We stand in agreement with your will for this chosen vessel. Father, you know this chosen one. You know their name. You know their story. You have counted every tear they cried in the car when they thought they could not go on. You saw them in the waiting room, holding their breath, wondering if you had forgotten them. You saw them fighting off the bitterness when they watched others pass them by. You saw them holding on to their integrity when it would have been so easy to compromise. They did not quit. Lord, they are still here. They are battered, they are tired, but they are standing. And because they honored you in the dark, you are about to honor them in the light. So right now, by the authority of the Word and the power of the Spirit, I seal this kairos alignment into their spirit. I seal the revelation of the great hiding. They will no longer feel rejected, they will feel protected. I seal the divine pause protocol over their decision-making. They will stop forcing Ishmael doors and wait for the Isaac promise. I seal the time shield over their focus. I bind, in the name of Jesus, the spirit of delay. You have no authority here anymore. The lease is up. I rebuke the spirit of stagnation that has tried to keep them in the Chronos loop. I bind the 3 time thieves. The nostalgia trap is broken. They will not go back. The emergency distraction is silenced. They will not be moved. The fatigue spirit is commanded to flee. They will walk in supernatural energy. I declare that their mind is locked, their spirit is alert, and their eyes are open. Every assignment of the enemy to steal this word as soon as this video ends is cancelled right now. It is sealed by fire. It is etched into their DNA. They cannot forget. They will not retreat. And now, I do not ask, I declare. I decree over your life, chosen one, that the years the locust has eaten are being restored right now. Not just returned, but redeemed. I declare a 7-fold restoration for every second you spent in the waiting room. I declare that the slingshot is released. You are moving from the background to the forefront. You are moving from the cave to the palace. Within the next 40 days, I declare that the sun will stand still for you. Time will bend to favor you. Opportunities that should have taken 10 years to build will manifest in moments. Resources that were held up in the spirit realm are being released into your hands. I declare that you are becoming a magnet for the miraculous. You are moving from forgotten to unforgettable, from hidden to high definition. This is not a hope. This is a decree from the courts of heaven, and it is established. Now, chosen one, the king is asking you one final question. He is looking at you right now, and he is asking, will you carry this? Will you steward this acceleration with humility? Will you stay faithful when the spotlight hits you, just as you were faithful in the dark? If your answer is yes, I want you to scream it in your spirit right now. Do not open your mouth, but let your soul shout it. Say yes. Say I will. Say I am ready. Good. Heaven heard that. The angels witnessed it. It is recorded in the books of eternity. You have agreed to the contract. You are commissioned. You are authorized. You are sent. Go now, chosen one. You are dismissed from the waiting room. You are released from the holding pattern. The arrow has left the bow. Walk in it, own it, steward it. And when the enemy tries to remind you of the delay, you remind him of the launch. In the mighty name of Yeshua. Do not say Amen yet. Sit in this for 60 seconds. Let the weight of this glory settle into your bones. Feel the shift. It is done. Now, go